Imagine this. A quiet suburban street in Nantes, France. It's spring, 2011. Neighbors notice something odd. The blinds in one house are drawn shut for days. The family's usually active, but now their mailbox is overflowing. Then the rumors start. The Dupont de Ligonnès family hasn't been seen. Days later, police dig under the terrace of the house. What they find makes headlines across the country. The bodies of Agnès Dupont de Ligonnès and her 4 children, carefully buried, wrapped in sheets and lime powder. But Xavier, the father, the head of the family, is missing. And from that day to this, he's never been found. This is the story of the Dupont de Ligonnès case, a chilling tale of family, mystery, and disappearance that still haunts France to this day. Part 1. The family behind the facade. To understand the mystery, we need to start with the family itself. The Dupont de Ligonnès family seemed normal, maybe even privileged. Xavier, born in Versailles in 1961, came from an aristocratic background. His full name was almost royal in tone. Xavier Pierre-Marie Dupont de Ligonnès. His family lineage traced back to nobility, but in modern times, it was more name than fortune. His wife, Agnès, was deeply religious, Catholic to the core. Friends described her as strict, a bit conservative, but devoted to her children. Together, they had 4 kids, Arthur, Thomas, Anne, and Benoit. Ranging from late teens to early childhood, they were by all accounts bright, polite, and close-knit. On the outside, they were living the French upper-middle-class dream. Private schools, vacations, a big suburban home. But underneath, the picture was cracking. Xavier's business ventures kept failing. He presented himself as an entrepreneur, sometimes in computing, sometimes in restaurants, sometimes in consulting. But the truth was, he was drowning in debt. Money was tight, and friends would later recall that Xavier often spoke of humiliation, of being a failure, of letting his family down. He seemed caught between pride in his aristocratic heritage and the harsh reality of his financial ruin. This mix, pressure, shame, pride, is important because it may have planted the seeds of what was to come. Part 2. The final days. Let's jump to March and April of 2011. This is when Xavier's behavior started to shift, and when things began to look suspicious in hindsight. He went to a shooting range, practicing with a rifle he legally owned. He claimed it was for sport. He bought supplies, lime, cement, garbage bags, odd purchases for a man in debt. He started putting his affairs in order. Some friends received strange goodbye letters. Others noticed he seemed more at peace, as if he'd made a decision. At the same time, the family's presence in the community grew quieter. Neighbors saw less of them. Excuses started circulating. One friend of the family received a letter supposedly from Agnès, explaining they were moving suddenly to the US for a witness protection program, because Xavier had been recruited by the DEA. Sounds unbelievable, right? But the letter was written with so much detail, some people actually believed it at first. Meanwhile, on social media, the children's accounts went silent. At school, teachers received withdrawal notices. The family dog, usually noisy, stopped being heard. Something was wrong. Part 3. The discovery. On April 15th, 2011, the police finally searched the Dupont de Ligonnès house. At first, nothing seemed out of place. The house was tidy. Beds were made. No signs of a struggle. But an officer noticed something odd about the terrace. fresh cement, patches of soil. When they dug, the horror revealed itself. One by one, they uncovered bodies, wrapped in sheets, placed carefully in garbage bags, and covered with quicklime, a substance that slows decomposition. It was Agnès. It was the children, even the family's 2 Labrador dogs, all buried together. It was deliberate, planned, cold. The only one missing? Xavier. Part 4. The Manhunt. Almost immediately, suspicion turned to him. The evidence was overwhelming. He was the only family member not under the terrace. He had bought lime and other supplies. He'd been practicing with a rifle. His DNA was in the house. But where was he? Investigators tracked his movements in the days after the murders. CCTV spotted him calmly driving south, stopping at hotels, paying for meals with his credit card. On April 15th, the very day the bodies were discovered, Xavier's car was found abandoned in the parking lot of a budget hotel near Roquebrune-sur-Argent in southern France. He was last seen carrying a bag, walking away from the hotel into the surrounding countryside. And then, nothing. Despite one of the largest manhunts in French history, Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès vanished. Part 5. Theories and Analysis. This is where the case becomes not just a crime story, but a mystery. Why did Xavier kill? And what happened to him? Theory 1. Financial ruin. The simplest explanation is money. Xavier was drowning in debt, and for someone with his pride and aristocratic background, humiliation may have felt unbearable. Killing his family may have seemed like a twisted way to save them from disgrace. Theory 2. Religious motivations. Some believe Agnès' Catholic influence, combined with Xavier's own writings, point to a more religious motive. In certain messages, Xavier spoke about family annihilation as a way to prevent sin or suffering. Could he have convinced himself he was sending them to heaven? Theory 3. Escape fantasy. Others argue that Xavier had long fantasized about escape, starting a new life, free of financial and personal burdens. Killing his family was a way to erase his old life. Theory 4. The unknown factor. Could there have been someone else involved? A secret accomplice, perhaps? Some skeptics say the crime scene was too carefully managed for one man, but so far, no real evidence suggests anyone else helped. Part 6. Sightings and rumors. Over the years, the case has been kept alive by reported sightings of Xavier. Some claim he was seen in a monastery in the French Riviera. Others swear he was spotted abroad, in places like Italy, Switzerland, even the United States. In 2019, French police arrested a man at Glasgow airport, believing it was Xavier. But DNA tests proved it wasn't. Each time, the hope of solving the case rises, and each time, it fades again. Is he alive, living under a new identity? Or did he walk into the wilderness in 2011 and end his own life, leaving no trace? Part 7. The legacy of the case. The Dupont de Ligonnès case is more than a crime story in France. It's a cultural touchstone, a modern ghost story. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. How well do we really know the people around us? How far can pride and desperation push a person? And why are family annihilation cases, when a parent kills their whole family, so haunting, yet so disturbingly common? For the French, the case is often compared to Jack the Ripper or Zodiac, a criminal who became larger than life precisely because he disappeared into thin air. Conclusion. It's been more than a decade since that suburban house in Nantes revealed its terrible secret. The bodies of Agnès, Arthur, Thomas, Anne, and Benoit have been laid to rest. The home where they once lived has been demolished. But one question still hangs in the air. Where is Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès? Is he dead in a forgotten corner of France? Or is he still alive, living quietly under a false name, his past hidden from everyone around him? We may never know, but what we do know is this. Behind the picture-perfect image of one French family was a darkness no one saw coming, until it was far too late. So, what do you think? Did Xavier vanish into a new life? Or did he disappear forever back in 2011?